Shishime Iihiko is quite possibly the strongest being in the Medaka Box series. He is a hero of legend, so mighty he is unaffected by skills of any kind, and any damage he deals out on the world will never heal or be able to be repaired. He is both an unbeatable and an unstoppable force, yet even so he is a very tragic character trapped in the past and unable to understand the present, and so that is what we shall discuss today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much such a small action can do for this channel. And if you want to go the extra mile to support this channel even further, then you can always consider pledging to my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Iihiko was an ancient hero who defended the weak and punished the wicked. He is the kind of hero told about in legends, who through his immense strength defeated threats and saved people. However, due to the preservation acts of the Shirane village, he was allowed to keep on living without ever dying, and so ended up in the modern day without the world he once protected alongside him. With the world and people he protected gone, Iihiko lost everything. The world had changed and the acts he committed, which were once seen as heroic, no longer held such meaning as values change. And so having lost everything, Iihiko's only reason to live became to simply keep living. His only goal is to live on, forever and ever. Hence why he remains in the Shirane village for the sake of this goal. What this all really boils down to though is that Iihiko was once a main character, heralded as a hero, but as time moved on and values changed, he was unable to change with it, as the Shirane village wished to preserve the hero Iihiko, not the new Iihiko who came with time. He became so dependent on this role that he adopted, that if it was to fade away, so would he. The person Shishime Iihiko ceased to exist and only Iihiko the hero remained. And that's why he fought to live on, to always live on. His life became nothing more than a vessel for his legend to be remembered, evidence of Iihiko the hero's existence. After all, the Shirane village acts to preserve stories and things of importance, which is what Iihiko's continued existence is. It's just a way for his story to be told. In this way, Iihiko is a cautionary tale of what could have happened to Medaka if she had not been beaten by Zenkichi and if she continued to be a main character. Medaka started to lose who she really was and become nothing but her role, something Zenkichi saw and stopped by challenging her. However, Iihiko never had anyone to do this to him, and so he became a main character in body and soul. I mean, just compare Iihiko to Medaka at the beginning of the story. Both are immensely powerful, both have OP abilities and never lose, both are battle crazy, both are always right by forcing their ideals down on the world, both don't understand people and both force their viewpoint onto others without regard for their feelings. If the Medaka from the beginning of the series appeared before Iihiko, he surely would have called her fresh, but the fact he didn't meet this version of her is what is important. As Medaka developed, she came to understand the dangers of her role and so stopped playing the main character and instead just embraced herself. I mean, let us just look at arguably my favourite moment in the series at the conclusion of the 100 Flower Run, where the narration says, "Once at Hakunawa Academy, there was a splendid, dazzling student council president. She was kind as a monster and fought like a god. She would have idiotic thoughts, she would communicate like a human, she would hesitate like a hero, she was a girl in every way." This is the true person that Medaka is, the human. Iihiko though lost his humanity when he became a personification of a role. He was no longer dazzling, no longer kind, he was not someone people would worship as a god, and he had no thoughts of anything but living on. He wouldn't hesitate like a hero, he couldn't communicate like a human, as he wasn't a human in any way. Iihiko though never understood the dangers of his role. He never stopped playing the hero and in the end lost his true self, left as nothing but a hollow shell of a hero living on for no other reason than to prove they lived and that their life meant something. He had to keep living and keep playing the role, as otherwise if he just stopped and no one cared, then it would be the same as saying his life had no meaning. And as a main character, Iihiko needed to be important, he needed to have meaning. He was scared that if he lost his role, that if he lost the one last thing he had and lost everything, he would end up becoming something not human. As in his mind, a hero with nothing to fight for isn't even human. He was scared that he'd end up like Najimi. However, that is exactly what he became. Fighting for the sake of survival wasn't the way a hero was meant to act. He had already become his own definition of a not human, which may be why in the modern day he now sports purplish skin and features no human has. He became the monster he feared he would become, but didn't even realise. While at the same time Najimi, the person he called a non-human, went ahead and became a normal human. Though when they meet again, this is not something he understands. In the same way he calls Medaka's acts of perseverance no matter what shameful and not heroic, he just doesn't understand the values of the present, and so instead has to impose his own will on people to try and make sense of the world. To understand the world, he must destroy it. Which once again is similar to Medaka, who tried to save the world to understand people, but failed, as by doing anything as lofty as destroying or saving the world, you can hardly talk to people normally. Instead, you impose your words on them or bring them up to your level. It's the flaw Medaka overcomes and the flaw that leads to Iihiko's defeat. The two are rather obvious foils to one another. Medaka, the girl who wants to save the world, and Iihiko, the man who wants to destroy it. One, due to their connections with others, was able to understand their flawed way of thinking and better themselves by being true to themselves, and the other, with no meaningful connections, becomes taken over by their flawed way of thinking and becomes nothing but a personification of a past ideal. The reason Iihiko was so disappointed with Najimi when she died at his hands, or by Medaka calling her just a modern day girl, is because they didn't fight the way the ancient Greeks did. Nope, instead both girls developed to be better people. Something Iihiko, who can only live out the role of an ancient hero, just can't understand. He doesn't get why Medaka would save her friends or why Najimi would face him head on. He doesn't understand any of it, which is why his defeat comes at the hands of a style, a personification of human communication. As Iihiko is an unbeatable hero from ancient times, he doesn't understand that the unbeatable type of hero he is no longer exists, and so using a style, using the power of communication, he has shown the value to the present day and so is able to be defeated. Which is why when the echo of Iihiko returns, he now understands the values of the present, if only a little, as through his defeat the fact that the unbeatable hero of legend no longer exists was made clear to him. We don't find out much about what this echo of Iihiko thinks after the point he comforts Medaka, but by the fact he engages in the 100 flower run, then to me at least it's clear that he now understands the strength of connection and why heroes of the modern age fight for their friends no matter what. Iihiko's lack of any depth could be seen by some to be shallow character writing, but his surface level personality, in my opinion, only adds to the fact that he is hollow inside, that he is just a role, a shell of a hero just living on for no other reason than to live. And although I wouldn't say he beats out Kumigawa, Najimi or Miyakonjo, I still firmly believe he deserves his place among the rest of Medaka Box's incredible antagonists, as not only is he a brilliant foil for Medaka and a commentary on the nature of heroes, but he's also just really fresh. Comment of the week could have gone to nobody else but Killy Monster, due to how long you waited for that in the anime video, so here you go, comment of the week. Hope you enjoyed this one too. If you were interested in my literary endeavours, then why not check out my books Gang, Fluid Justice and People of Vape Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video, like Hikari Desu, 7SO, Smokey McBobby and Rinjack9696. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.